So what I'm about to tell you is kind of like a no-brainer and a brain explosion at the same time, because it's so darn obvious you wouldn't need to think about it, while on the same time everybody makes this mistake like all the time, including me. So what's the observation here? What is the problem? The problem is overthinking. I discussed this a lot, especially with myself, but also hear that from a lot of other people, that there is a general tendency that we overthink things. What does it mean? We think too long, we ramble on, we go in the windmills of our mind in circles and circles, and technically when we revise it later we find out we don't have a solution, like we really didn't solve this whole darn thing. So we created a time loop for ourselves where our brain was stuck and it didn't go on. Now, what's the solution here? I don't have one. I just have a simple heuristic, and it's quite obvious. Overthinking has never solved any problem in the entire time. Given that you have a certain problem, say you want to write a bachelor thesis and you need to think about a topic, and you consider and you write down all the options, you write the potential supervisors, you have like a really long list. Well, say you spend a decent amount of money because it's a rather important decision for you. So say you spend like 24 hours on that. So 2 kind of like really long days you spend with that, maybe even 3. Well, and then would you feel if you spend another hour on the whole thing, that suddenly you reach a breakthrough, that you suddenly get a like insight and then you solve the whole thing? That's, I think, not going to happen. And our experience tells us that adding just another small like amount of time onto something, it literally doesn't add anything. You know, no one ever said, yeah, I thought about it for hundreds of hours and then I spent the 101st hour and this solved it all. So overthinking is not really the problem here, I believe. What is the problem is that we are incapable to accept that we are imperfect in any given like time and space. Because of course somebody tells us something and we are like, did not think of that. Yeah, I should have thought about that earlier. But you know what the difference is between you and that person? That person has way more experience, maybe. Maybe they had a bad experience in the past. They made a mistake. And this is how they learned, and this is why they can give you advice. But you lack that experience. You don't have that knowledge. And then it doesn't work, right? It doesn't work. So, and that's the real problem that we have. You have to learn to go on and to make mistakes, and then you learn. But no one has ever overthought anything and came up with a like fruitful result. It's literally when we talk to somebody else, when you get feedback maybe from a supervisor, or when you get information somehow somewhere else. And that's the important thing. You need to think about things, you need to maybe write them down, maybe make some sort of a systematic list, maybe discuss it with your friends, with your peers, with some colleagues, but then you need to let go and then you will make experience. And if we then fail, if we make a mistake, then we can acknowledge, and I think we can all agree on that, that with the knowledge that we had at our disposal, we took the best decision and then we failed. And this is what's called learning. So, and that's why I say, stop overthinking.